Michigan Power, informing our customers is really, really important. And that's why during a storm like that, everybody wants to know what's going on. Everybody wants to know, when's the power coming back on? What are the reasons for the power being out? And we do our best to show and tell customers, this is why the power's out. This is when we hope to have your power back on. Sometimes we're not always able to get the power on as soon as we had hoped. And if that changes, we want to tell customers and be upfront.
This is Enjoy Fort Wayne, the show that entertains, informs, and inspires the community of Fort Wayne, Indiana. We do it by telling the stories of the doers, thinkers, and performers of our community. I'm Adam Merino, and today I'm talking to Tracy Warner. If you recall, just 2 weeks ago on June 13th, the city was hit hard with a derecho with wind speeds near 100 miles per hour. Tracy is the official spokesman for AEP, which is responsible for our power. As you know, many of us here lost power, so I wanted to sit down with Tracy and find out all the info regarding the storm and how they were able to restore so much power so quickly. I also find out what Tracy likes to do when he's not busy with dealing with power outages. So today we find out how Tracy Warner had us able to enjoy Fort Wayne.
Yeah, my name is Tracy Warner, and I'm a spokesman for Indiana Michigan Power. For about 30 years before that, I worked at the Journal-Gazette, and working in the newspaper was just a great way to get to know the city. I was a reporter and an editor and a writer and a manager, and it's just really, you get so much information about so many different things, and you learn so much about a community and the people, and so that was also a great job.
Wow, okay.
So,
and are you from Fort Wayne originally?
I'm originally from Hartford City, about an hour south of here, and I went to Ball State University, but I've been in Fort Wayne for over 40 years now.
Tracy has worked for AEP for nearly a decade, so I wanted to ask him everything about this storm. Just 2 weeks ago, our city was rocked by a derecho, the Spanish word for straight ahead, because the wind typically does not swirl like in a tornado, but moves, you guessed it, straight ahead. The airport reported that it was the highest wind in our history at 98 miles an hour. Is that, can you confirm that?
But that is my understanding from the National Weather Service and others, that yes, it was a record. It was a derecho, which is a very strong straight line wind. 10 years ago, a derecho hit Fort Wayne, and that caused actually more outages, and I think they recorded 91 mile an hour on that one.
Okay, wow. So you're telling me this was a stronger storm, but we had less outages.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, is there something that can attest to that?
Some of it is you just never really know what a storm's going to do until after it comes through, but Indiana Michigan Power has been doing a lot of investment into our infrastructure. New poles, new lines, grid modernization, where more things that it used to take crews to do can be done remotely and through technology. And another thing that we've been doing is systematically clearing trees and branches from being close to lines, and that has made a difference.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I think is a very positive thing, is you notice things that can be done and you take action. Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about Indiana Michigan Power that maybe the average person who is more towards a complainer would say, oh, well, we just want our power right within 30 seconds. What is something that maybe they don't understand that you would be able to help and be able to tell us?
Well, first of all, I understand that sentiment. I mean, we are so used to having electricity. It powers our lives. And when you don't have it, it's definitely an inconvenience on some hot weather like it has been. It can be pretty uncomfortable. So I understand that. When a storm, a really bad storm comes through, one thing to consider is that your neighborhood probably isn't the only neighborhood that's affected. And on this particular storm that came a couple weeks ago, it started in southwest Michigan, and there was a lot of damage there, and I&M also serves that area. It kind of came from the northwest to the southeast. Now, fortunately, it didn't cause that much damage in the South Bend area, which I&M serves, but then it hit Fort Wayne really hard, and so there are a lot of outages spread over a fairly large area. So that's one of the things for Indiana Michigan Power. Informing our customers is really, really important, and that's why during a storm like that, everybody wants to know what's going on. Everybody wants to know when's the power coming back on. What are the reasons for the power being out? And we do our best to show and tell customers this is why the power's out. This is when we hope to have your power back on. Sometimes we're not always able to get the power on as soon as we had hoped, and if that changes, we want to tell customers and be upfront and let them know. Our first priority after a storm like this is to restore very critical customers. So if a hospital doesn't have power, most of them have generators, but generators don't always power everything, and they're not indefinite. And so we get them back on as soon, they're our first priority. And other public agencies like, a jail or, a police headquarters or something like that. Those are our first priorities. Then the second thing we look at is single outages that may have the most customers. So, for instance, there might be one outage that affected 2,000 customers. We're going to probably get to that before we get to the outage that affects 100.
Sure.
Just because we can get more people back on. And then as the storm restoration goes on, as we get later in the restoration, we get the smaller pockets. Now, sometimes there are customers that only one or two customers is affected by a single outage. And unfortunately, those will get a later priority because we have to get the most customers back on as soon as we can, but we continue working until everybody is back on.
With so much power out at one time because of how some storms are, companies like AEP have to get creative.
I&M and other electric utilities really make use of mutual assistance. It's kind of similar to fire departments. If there's a really bad fire one place, other fire departments will come in.
Okay, sure.
And if there's a really bad fire somewhere else, our fire department may go there. So with utilities, if there is a lot of damage and a lot of customers out, other utilities that aren't experiencing that sort of heavy damage will come help.
Really?
Yes, and I&M has gone to hurricane scenes. We had some crews in Puerto Rico when that hurricane happened, and so we've gone out, and then in exchange, others will come in here. So we've had over 600 people from other power companies and other utilities to come in and help us. So that kind of doubled our force, or maybe even more. We asked, there's kind of a central repository where utilities ask for help, and we asked for 450, and we got a little more than that. And then plus we got another 150 from Public Service of Oklahoma, which is a sister AEP company. So we have crews coming from Oklahoma all the way over to Pennsylvania, and they make a really big difference.
Wow, yeah, that's incredible. I certainly did not know that, and so I'd have to assume a lot of people in Fort Wayne don't know that, and that's something that we can be proud of. That's really, really, really cool.
So I think a lot of people during that storm probably saw trucks with buckets on the back with names that they didn't recognize, and a lot of those are other utilities. Some of them might be companies that do work for utilities. So there's a lot of trucks that you might not recognize the names that were going through Fort Wayne and the
Sure,
area.
And now we understand why. The most frustrating thing can be losing power, and AEP is doing what they can to keep you informed.
One thing that we do offer are outage alerts that people can sign up for at IndianaMichiganPower.com, and you get a text that lets you know if your power went out and when we expect to have the power restored. And that is a great way to keep informed. People are certainly welcome to call us. There might be a waiting time for that, particularly during something like this, but you doing it online. We also have an outage map online, IndianaMichiganPower.com/outage map, and you can see where the outages are and dig down into them and see what estimated times of restoration are.
Sure. So what is the best thing to do when you experience an outage, just in general? Not maybe for a derecho, because that's not the normal thing, but just in general, what would you say? What would you tell the average person?
To call, or you can also report it online at our website. As our technology improves, we will increasingly be able to know that your power is out. But for many customers still, we don't necessarily know when their power is out. So it is always a good idea to let us know.
This storm in particular made things really difficult because of a few things.
In this case, it took down a lot of poles. Over 300 poles were either broken or damaged, and it's a cumbersome job to replace a pole. And the number one objective of I&M is to be safe, and safety for our customers, safety for the public, safety for our employees. And you have to be very systematic about replacing a pole. You have to make sure everything is de-energized. You have to take whatever equipment is on the pole, transformers, reclosers, other equipment, move it to the new pole, put it back up, and string wire again. And in many cases like this one, particularly in the Waynedale area, is that trees and branches have to be removed. There are a lot of trees that came over into power lines, and those have to be cleared. So to do one outage, that can be somewhat time consuming. And then so on a very widespread outage, the first thing that our crews like to do is assess. And so right after an outage occurs, you may not see a whole lot of restorations real quickly, and that's because to best approach the storm and get the most customers back at the earliest time, we need to assess to see what's wrong. A crew might see a line down and spend 2 hours to fix it, but then turn the corner and find a line down that it affects 1,000 customers instead of 10 customers. So we really need to be systematic about that.
See, that right there is, my wheels are turning as you say that, like, oh, I didn't think about that the average person doesn't think about that. And you would like to be able to say, yeah, don't worry, we're thinking about everything. But when all we know is, well, look, I can't play my PlayStation. That's all I know.
The storm affected about 40,000 customers, and about 10,000 of those or roughly were in Southwest Michigan, and most of the other 30,000 were in and around Fort Wayne.
Now, is that number high? It sounds high to me. Is that normal?
There really is no normal. Every storm can be different, and sometimes there might be a terrible storm and not that many outages, and sometimes what seems like is not that terrible a storm causes numerous outages. So there really are different. 40,000 people is a lot of people without power, and so within 48 hours we had over half restored. And we're in shape to have everyone restored within about 4 days.
This is Enjoy Fort Wayne. We'll be back right after this. Brewhound Bus is your chance to visit all the scenes you want to check out, from breweries to wineries and nightlife. Book your tour with Brewhound Bus. Go to brewhoundbus.com, let us pick you up from your house, and drop you off home safely. Grab 12 of your friends and bring your own cooler on board. Book your next bachelor or bachelorette party, birthday, or friends night out with Brewhound Bus. Check out the weekday specials as well, only at brewhoundbus.com. You being in the city for so long, you remember downtown the way it was, as far as I joke and call it like the way that the Midwest gets joked about as a flyover area. Mm-hmm. Downtown was a flyover area as far as driving. You just drive through downtown to get where you're going, and now it's more of a destination. So maybe what's your take on that, and what is your favorite thing now to do?
When I moved to Fort Wayne in 1981, downtown was pretty dead. And as a matter of fact, the building that where our headquarters is located, which is now Indiana Michigan Power Center, but at the time was called One Summit Square, that was one of the first new buildings to go up for a long time, but there wasn't much going on, and now it's so active downtown, and I hear that from so many people about how vibrant it is. My daughter, who moved away and revisited, could not believe how much there was to do downtown. The Promenade Park is just so neat. There's so many businesses. And of course the Tin Cap Stadium was really a big draw, I think. So it's just great to see the city so vibrant. Personally, I'm a music lover, and I love the music scene here. There are so many opportunities. Rock the Plaza here at the library is just a great venue. And actually, I play a little saxophone, and I played at Rock the Plaza here not too long ago. I'm in the Greg Bender band.
Okay.
And we don't play terribly often, but we get out, when we can. I joke that the hardest part about having a band is getting 5 people who can be in the same place at the same time.
Sure.
Especially once you get older and you have family obligations and so many other things you have to do. But it's great fun, and we enjoy playing. But we also really enjoy watching and listening to other bands.
Yeah, sure. Do you have anything scheduled on the docket?
Indian Trails Park out off of Boyd Center Road on July 6th.
Awesome. Okay. So you can thank in person, for your efforts of getting the power back and just wanting to care about the city, and you can hear some good tunes coming out of that saxophone. Is that right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, so last question I always ask all my guests: if you could rent out a billboard that would just be your personal message to the city, what would you want it to say?
Probably that I&M is powering the next, and that's kind of our slogan. That basically to indicate that not only are we working to make sure that we have reliable, safe power today, but also well into the future. One of the things that we're working on is more renewables. We actually have 5 solar farms. We buy power from 3 wind farms, and we're seeking to greatly expand the wind and solar capacity. Many people may not know that on a storm restoration, when we know customers are out, we care very much about our customers, and our top priority is to safely restore those customers as soon as we can. Our line workers and many of the employees working on a storm work 16-hour shifts.
Wow.
Which is a very long day. And this particular storm that came through, it was very hot. And so our crews are very mindful about staying hydrated, about cooling off in their trucks. And so that they're very, very mindful of that. But the line workers are a special group, and they really, really care about getting customers back on. And they work very, very hard to reach that goal.
That's awesome. And we are always grateful for the people on the front lines. It takes everyone, but when you see, there's something about seeing the guy putting in the time and sweating and in the heat that just, your heart goes out to those people. And so we're very grateful, and the city of Fort Wayne thanks you guys very much. We really appreciate it. So thank you. Hopefully you've been informed, entertained, and most of all, inspired. Remember, you can catch Tracy and the Greg Bender Band July 6th at the 2022 Concerts on the Green. Shows are Wednesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Be sure to follow on all of our social medias, from Instagram to Facebook to Twitter and TikTok. As always, we want you to be interactive with the show. Go to your Facebook groups and type in Enjoy Fort Wayne. There you can interact with the rest of the community and find out how to enjoy Fort Wayne. This show is produced by Coraggio Media and is part of the In Crowd Network. The show is written and edited by me, with music from Certified and A Better Fort. It is recorded at the WELT Studios in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne at the Allen County Public Library. For Tracy Warren, I am Adam Merino. This is Enjoy Fort Wayne.